Result HQ and formerly also CEO of Hub Concepts. I have been asked to make a presentation to you about innovation and innovation engines inside smart cities. So the basic idea is that let's say the last 15 years, 15 even 20 years, there has been a growing interest in smart cities. The basic idea is that digitalization is helping our cities to transform themselves to be kind of like new growth engines for the regions. I have prepared here a very short presentation about my company, just a couple of slides, and then I go to the topic of these smart cities and how do I see it. So company brief. I myself and the teams that I'm working with, we have over 20 years experience in anything to do with innovation. We have been developing frameworks and tools, how we can help different kinds of innovation platforms and hubs to be actually managed for effective results. So we have been doing analyzing and benchmarking hundreds and hundreds of these sites. The last 8 years I've been working in all of these countries, and we have now advisory work over 100 cases with different kinds of ways to help management professionals to manage these sites. In this one picture is basically the key background of why I am here today. My work started with science and technology parks, and then it moved on to also include smart cities. And it's relatively common wherever I visit and I meet people, they show me pictures of smart cities like this. So typically I walk in and people start talking about urban planning, they start talking about infrastructures, they talk about buildings, traffic, and many different kinds of systems. And while it is very interesting, and while it is necessary, of course, to develop our urban environment, I would like to advocate that we should build our cities for a reason. Not only because we want to use technology there and we want to do technological upgrades and all that kind of thing. So we came up with the idea that we believe that urban planners and city administration and construction companies, they can do their work and they can actually create these environments. But unfortunately the end results have not been very promising. We get these environments, but the actual reason why we build them doesn't materialize. So usually we build these so that we would support business, we should support companies, we should support the development of even new industries in these smart cities. But it's relatively common that we get amazing, nice, first-class master plans and very nice cities, but very nominal results in terms of business support and diversification of local economies. So we say that if we want these environments to actually work properly, we should put in an engine, innovation engine into those cities, so that they would be able to produce the results what we are expecting. Essentially we are talking about concepts, business plans and operational plans that are planned for innovation outcomes. And here we have a framework that we are using to describe what kind of elements you need inside that engine. And those of you who are in smart city development or innovation city development or any kind of a innovation activity, you probably recognize many of these words. We are talking about education and R&D and clusters and test beds and so on and so on and so on. So essentially what we are saying, we say that we have to plan these engines and put them inside these infrastructures, and then we are better off. So this is kind of the basic thinking behind everything what I present to you today. So I assume that some of you are involved somehow in the development of smart cities or individual solutions that are needed to support the gradual development of smart cities. So what I would like to point out that we should move forward. we should be planning for bigger picture than only the sites, only the individual cities. So first of all, of course, it makes sense that you start making the basic planning and zoning and different kinds of ideas being put together. But you have to also remember always to extend your thinking to local regional context, and then to the national context, and then to international context, so that you make sure that all these four levels are connected to each other. It is not enough only to think about your own smart city and perhaps smart district. You have to find your location that is interesting in your national context and in international context. What we are saying, we're saying that that already 6-7 years ago there were over 1,000 smart city projects around the world. Today I am 100% sure that there are over 5,000 smart city projects around the world. And we know that when people are developing smart cities, these are the typical topics that they are talking about. Everything to do with digitalization. Is it the digitalization of operations or smart homes or e-health and so on and so on? Then typically we focus on development of our urban environment so that it becomes smarter. Some other people are more interested in ecological issues and sustainability, so many times they label their cities as eco-cities, and then they are around these topics. Is it heating or energy systems or water management or waste management and so on. And both of these city structures, they need basic infrastructure which is enabling these services to be built on top of this infrastructure. And typically then we are talking about smart grids, electric grids, common IT platforms, cloud computing strategies, intelligent transportation and mobility and all that kind of thing. So my main claim is that there is nothing new in the development of smart cities. My second claim is that when we are developing the smart cities, we have to always remember that cities are really complex systems, and it is highly unlikely that you could take anything untested to be put into these cities. So if we believe that these two things are true, that just pure development of smart cities would be somehow interesting, it is not, because there are so many others who are doing the same. And then we believe that we cannot take any untested things. Then I claim that all this discussion that we have nowadays is related to effective utilization of existing technologies. Yes, it's true that we can take the latest possible ones and package them, and we can help our cities to develop towards smartness and being sustainable, and we get smart eco-cities. But my message is that the reason why we want to build these cities is they are typically related to economical development of the city, and getting new ideas flowing and bringing new members to do this together. And that's why I claim that we should always make sure that when we are developing our smart cities, we should also think about innovation and the innovation engine that we can put inside this city. And once we are talking about innovation, we have to start thinking about innovation clusters and eco-technologies R&D and urban business labs and city as a service platform and so on and so on. So that's why we are nowadays going around the world and talking with local authorities, regional administration, governments, developers, that while you all want to do these smart eco-cities, please remember always to embed, to put in also this innovation part and start talking about 3-in-1 future cities. It is not enough to be smart city, you have to be something much, much more. Otherwise you just do something what everybody else has already been doing before. So 3-in-1 future cities, it means that we maintain the basic strong foundation in smart city development. So we focus on smart city master planning, where we include smart government grids, business and lifestyle, using every possible digital means what we can take into use and using big data and analytics and all that kind of thing. Then we make sure that we have these green buildings and green districts so that our built environment will be sustainable. So the idea is that we introduce different kinds of design guidelines and KPIs to actually measure how this sustainability is being achieved. But at the same time, then I say that we have to make sure that in these new cities, innovation capacity upgrades will take place. So we make sure that the university education projects, vocational training centers, lifelong learning issues, everything related to innovation capacity building is also being integrated into these plans. So then I just show you quickly for the last part of my presentation some best practice case studies, what we have been doing with this thinking in other countries. So my first example comes from the country Kazakhstan and its capital Astana, where we worked for 1.5 years with the local government. This is a brand new city. They decided to build a new capital in this country about 12, 13 years ago, and they made a plan for 20 years. Build a city from zero. So of course they decided that when we build it, it has to be smart and ecological and innovative and all that kind of thing. And the reason why they built this is that they want to have a richer city in a sense that there is very diversified economical structure. Kazakhstan is well known for its natural resources. They have oil and gas and uranium and everything, you name it. It's a very rich country. But they wanted to diversify the economy, so they decided to start building this new city. They had been building it for 10 years when they contacted us. And they said that our plan is not working. It is really smart. Digital is everywhere. It is really sustainable, so it's really working fine. We have the brand new university, faculty from 50 different countries. We have amazing science and technology park. And everything is set, but no diversification. No new companies are born, no new industries are being developed. Please help us. And we started to talk with them and ask different kinds of questions. So what do you actually do when you are building your city? And the first biggest question was that, why did you build your university and science and technology park 3 kilometers outside of the city? And they said, but it's a good place, it's between the city and the airport. The recent studies are saying that it has to be there. And we said, no, it doesn't make any sense. You have amazing opportunity where you are building your new smart city. Why don't you decide to put your innovation engine inside the city? And they said, please tell more. And I said, okay, you have a plan to build a huge hospital district. General hospital, several clinics, and all that kind of thing. There will be 40 to 50,000 people visiting every day this hospital district. Why do you build a separate science park 10 kilometers away from this hospital? Because all the patients are there, all the doctors are there, all the experts are there. This is the place where you should do your innovation. They have a plan to build a subway system in this city. And if you go around the biggest cities in the world, for example Tokyo or Seoul and all that kind of thing, if you have ever noticed, almost every major intersection on subway lines is some kind of an innovation hub. They are building their innovation systems on top of the stations, not separate science parks somewhere. And we continued this, and in the end we were helping them to develop this kind of a new Astana Innovation Hub model where they put inside the city structure all the innovation activities instead of making separate investments for innovation. I'm working at the moment in Kuwait, where they have big national plans how they are going to diversify their economy. They have serious issues in relation to the innovation institutions and innovation models and innovation processes, and they have asked us to basically draft them a national level policy where there would be guidelines how they are going to be developed, everything related to innovation. You probably remember recent history. Kuwait is one of the richest countries in the world. They are very wealthy because of oil. They were also the #1 financial center in whole Arab Peninsula and whole that region. But during the Iraq war, the whole country was destroyed. For 10 years, just everything was burning, all the buildings gone and all that kind of thing. So they are rebuilding Kuwait city and some other cities in that country, and they are all going to be smart and sustainable and all that kind of thing. But they are worried that it's not enough. if we don't put the innovation engine inside, so that we help our companies to grow, and that's what we are helping them with. My third example comes from South Korea, from the island of Jeju. As Da Nang is a major tourist city, you probably also know your competition, so at least you should know that Jeju is probably the most important travel destination in South Korea. This is a tourist island, it's a volcanic island in the south, really amazing place. And Prime Minister's Office of South Korea decided that, hey, let's try to diversify the local economy here. It cannot be only tourism, it has to be also something else. And we started to work with them, and the Prime Minister's Office, they had a project called Healthcare Town. So let's build a brand new town or township, about 40,000 people, where the team is related to healthcare. And they had all the plan, they had the master plan, they had these pictures, they had investors, they had the commitment from the central government and all that kind of thing. But then they started to wonder, okay, our original plan was to invite health tourists, so sick people who need help, they would come to this island. And we started to challenge them. Is it really enough that your focus group is those sick people around the world? Because there are other countries like Thailand and India and Dubai and all that kind of thing, which are also very interested in health tourism. So why if you start extending this thing? And in the end, we started to combine to healthcare everything related to well-being, because healthy people is bigger market than the sick people. And that's when we started to transform this healthcare thinking to the health and well-being thinking. Then later on we said that, please don't stop there. You have two professional sports leagues in South Korea, one for soccer and one for American baseball. Each league has about 15, I don't know, 10, 20 teams. Every team from both leagues will come every year to this island to practice for the next season. So why don't you then locate in the same city facilities for those groups, because they need doctors, they need physical therapists, they need all this help, what the city would provide anyway. So combine sports here. And then we said, please don't stop there. Continue, and they started to talk about what more? We said food. Food is important to sick people and healthy people and sportsmen and all that kind of thing. And by the end, through our joint project, we started to make them plans what kind of innovation processes they need inside this new town that can be meeting the needs of all these new client groups that they're going to attract to their island. And my final example is from Hong Kong, where we were working with the Hong Kong Science and Technology Park. It's a relatively new park development. They have been around for about 25 years. The Park Corporation is a public company. It's owned by the government of Hong Kong. And we work with them to kind of conduct the whole Hong Kong level innovation audit. Who is doing what, why they are doing it, how do we support the cluster development in this park, how do we support the incubation and acceleration programs, how do we help them to upgrade their service levels. And by the end, the whole site is full. It has been full almost every day of all of its development, and now they are expanding to different locations inside the Hong Kong city. So this is my basic message, is that while we are all interested and very happy with the development related to technologies that are needed for smart cities and eco-cities and all that, we should also always remember that these cities are built for a reason, and the reason is economical diversity, and for this reason we should make sure that they have innovation engines inside there. And today I have given you some examples how these engines can be embedded into these city structures. So thank you very much for your attention, and I'm going to be a member of the panel also after this presentation. So thank you very much.